It's okay. Woosah, let's do a little breathing exercise. In through your nose and out through your mouth.
Rely on Nye, on Nye. Rely on Nye, rely on Nye.
Yeah, you could go ahead and subscribe now. Thanks.
Hey NyeAllies, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Nye, coming with yet another reason for you all to keep watching. So if you're new, me too. Now we're in this together, okay? So go ahead and like and subscribe because we're about to get into these topics. First, I want to acknowledge Kenzie. Welcome to the channel. She is an expressive therapist, and I am so happy that she's here. You guys, make sure you go follow her down below. I'm going to link everything right here so you guys can see. So today, guys, I want to go ahead and talk about childhood trauma. So, Kenzie, what is childhood trauma?
So, I would say that childhood trauma are the things that have really shaped your mindset and shaped how you perceive the world. The traumatizing part are just events that are kind of out of your control, that have really changed your mind about things and kind of give you like a shaded perspective of what could be. And results of childhood trauma would be like doubt, insecurity, fear, like just having shame and guilt around things that are kind of out of your control but are deeply embedded in your personality and your subconscious mind. So when you are traumatized as a child, you grow up with just kind of like a shaded point of view of who you are, what you're capable of, and what your true purpose is in life. You might suffer from like various forms of depression and just, you know, anxiety, or like being spaced out or feeling like you don't fit in, or just being constantly triggered by everyday things that happen in life, or just being afraid to be yourself. I know a lot of people are just afraid to just be themselves, but it stems from somebody telling them like, okay, you ain't shit and I wish you was never here. So it's like, how can I be myself if it's like, when I was trying to figure out who I was, it's like you know?
Yeah, no, you're on. Yes, already. I love it. So I do want to kind of go into the notion that you said about like being your biggest advocate, kind of allowing yourself permission to be yourself. I feel like that is so important, especially when it comes to, you know, addressing those traumas and being able to really place yourself back into reality and not necessarily focus on that skewed vision or that skewed world per se. So the first question is, why do you feel it's important to express your childhood wounds?
I feel like if you have wounds from your childhood and you can actually acknowledge them, and you know where things in your life have kind of messed up your perception of yourself or the world, if you can identify them, it's important to heal them, because then there's a thing called a shadow self. So your shadow self is kind of your wounded inner child, and your shadow self is the person that sabotages your experiences, sabotages your relationships, just based off of a mentality. So you could feel like, I want to be in a relationship, but your shadow self might feel like, I'm not worthy of a relationship and nobody loves me, and so it subconsciously holds you back and makes you kind of sabotage all of your relationships and your friendships, and they don't end up working out. You're like, on the surface, I really do want companionship. I really do want real friends. I really do want real relationships. I want to experience love, but deep down, I feel like I'm not worthy of love because everybody who I thought loved me abused me or left me or told me that, you know, actually you don't deserve love. You know what I'm saying? So, if they go unaddressed, you will live life as a lesser version of yourself. You will never reach your full potential. You will never be able to fully believe in yourself, because there's a wounded part of yourself that believes that, actually, I don't deserve this life. Actually, I'm not good enough. Actually, who am I to say that? So address your trauma so that you can heal, so that you can actually be happy, instead of, you know, being happy for a moment, being like, wait, I'm too happy, this is not too, this is too good to be true. I don't know what's going on, this is not even my life.
Yeah, and that kind of goes into like why it's important to address that inner child, because it's just like those insecurities, like those things that you think are kind of like surface levels that you know, experience every day, but you realize it's a problem and you want to start to change that. Those are the things that you want to look at, you know, how those things began. You know, is this your true thought, or is it impacted by your experiences? So what role does blame play in your childhood traumas?
Actually, I just realized kind of recently, like, you know, playing the victim wins you no awards. You don't get anywhere being a victim of anything, and sometimes you are a victim of certain circumstances, like when somebody imposes abuse on you. However, if you take the victim mentality, if you take that standpoint, you'll never be able to heal, because you'll feel like somebody's doing something to you, rather than taking accountability for your emotions and the way that you respond to the things that happen. Because what I have learned, things are going to happen anyway. Like, stuff is going to happen anyway. You're always going to be tested. You're always going to have to show up for yourself, or like execute some type of willpower to get yourself to the next level of life, unless you're just going to be stagnant. And you know, as humans, we're forever evolving. Everything's always changing around us. So you don't really have a choice but to be stagnant. If you're really going to be stagnant, you're probably going to die. Like, just because you can't keep up with how everything else around you is moving.
That's like, you definitely have a choice of being the victim or the survivor. You know what I'm saying? It's all about perspective.
Exactly. That just goes down to accountability. Like, okay, yeah, this happened, but what are you going to do about it? Like, are you going to cry about it? And sometimes it just hurts so bad. Yeah, I'm going to cry. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I'm going to cry about it. But then after you're done crying, because you do want to honor your feelings and give yourself that space to hold space for the person that was hurt in that moment. But you have to be able to be like, you know what, but this doesn't define me. But you know what, but this is not who I am. This is not the totality of my being. I am not my circumstance. And if you do not come into that actualization, you will forever be a victim to things that happen to you. Because like I said, everybody is on their own personal evolution journey. So if you encounter somebody who's, you know, in you know, a foggy place in their life, and they happen to hurt you, it's about what you're gonna do with that experience, not rather be like, but you did this to me, and you did that to me, and this happened to me. Take accountability. Like, I put myself in a position for this to happen, and I've been sad about it for years and years and years and years, and this year I'm gonna heal. Because yeah, it happened, and it was unfortunate, but at the same time, that don't have nothing to do with me right now. That's not my reality today. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. You have to come out with that conqueror mindset. Like, yeah, I'm not a rape victim, I'm a survivor of rape.
Yeah, and that kind of goes into my next question. The next question is, how do we separate our choice that we made in childhood from our desired adult response?
I would say that just goes into with subconscious programming. You're going to have to really assess the way that you think when it comes to certain situations. And you have to really put yourself in a position to be like, you know what? I've seen this before. I did this before. I've been here, and I chose this, and I remember how this made me feel. So, you know, I'm gonna choose this one to see, you know, how that can make me feel and how I can change the patterns in my life. If you do not consciously change the patterns in your life, you're going to keep experiencing the same things, and you're never going to actually grow.
So I guess in connection to that, it's just like often I guess I get confused about different perceptions, or I just choose to live in my perception. And so when living in my reality, I feel like I don't get a chance to explore other people's reality. So I don't give a chance to, you know, this being, you know, the best thing that my parents could have done for me, you know what I'm saying, in the decisions that they had to make. I don't necessarily consider the fact of, you know, somebody else might be hurt, so that's why they might be hurting me, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So it's just like, I guess realizing different perspectives, you can definitely start realizing different patterns. And so for me, in my childhood traumas, it was just like, you know, I recently did a genogram. And that genogram, I had to realize, like, okay, well, you know, if abuse is running down through all of these generations, then this is a generational curse. 2, this is something that, you know, not only I've experienced, but my parents have experienced, my grandparents have experienced. So it's just something that, you know, something that one of my parents said was that, you know, I never treated you the same way that my parent treated me. And in that statement, it was so powerful because it's just like, these are things that we've been taught to normalize. But from that statement, it was just like everything clicked. Like, okay, you know, my same feelings of shame, my same feelings of disgust, my same feelings of sadness, like someone else has experienced that before. One of my parents have experienced it before, my grandparents. So it's like those feelings I was scared to address before. I used to get mad at myself because I wasn't able to express those feelings. Like, I used to bottle them up and then automatically, I guess, explode to a certain extent because I didn't know how to handle those emotions. I didn't know what I was necessarily going through. So, Tyler, if you don't mind, what are some steps that you've taken when healing from childhood traumas?
I would say the most important step is really having those hard conversations. Having the conversations if the people are still alive with the people who have made you feel away. Not for their approval, but to let them know, like, you know, listen, this is what happened, but you have to really come to a place within yourself to say, you know, I'm tired of suffering. I'm tired of feeling the same type of way about this person, because when it comes to our family and the people who hurt us in our family, it's like, but I love them, you know? So it's like, I don't even want to be mad at you. Like, I wish we could have a real family and everything be everything. So first I would say forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for all of the times where you've questioned or second guessed or let certain scenarios that have run their time in your life play out and play out and play out and be so upset. Like, forgive yourself for all of the negative energy that you've allowed yourself to be in because of traumas that have gone unaddressed. And then second, I would say forgive others, because it's about self-love. It's about protecting yourself. It's about being there for yourself. You don't want to harbor any ill feelings, or you won't be able to fully exert true love. So it's like, if you really want to really love yourself, you're going to have to forgive yourself, forgive others. Write out everything, like write out. And then I would say give death to your old self. I would say you can even go as far as writing a eulogy for your old self. And, you know, this person, so be like, rest in peace to the old me, the me who was insecure, the me who was traumatized, the me who was abused, the me who etc, 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 so that you can really, I am dramatic, so I go as far as having the funeral. We're gonna have the funeral. We're gonna have the funeral. We're going to the backyard. We're burying the paper. We're burning it. Something.
Period.
So that, you know, there's a ritual that you have for yourself to be like, you know what, I don't like this part of myself. I'm gonna write it out. I'm gonna cry it out. I'm gonna burn it up, and it's gone.
Right.
And then you have to change your behavior.
It's the work.
Yeah, it's about changing the way that you react, changing the way that you think, changing the way that you conceptualize what has actually happened to you. So with the experiences that we've experienced in childhood, as far as our traumas go, if we never ever went through them periods of time, we would never be where we're at right now. We wouldn't have the wisdom that we have right now. We wouldn't have the drive. We wouldn't even feel purposeful, because we made it through those, like, you know, trying times. We know that there's a purpose for us here because we lived through it. Because when you're traumatized, it's like, I almost feel like I might die. Like, when you're really heartbroken, it's like, okay, are the gates open, or like, what's going on? Because everything kind of hurts. It's like, mentally you're spaced out. You don't know what's going on, where you're going next. You just know that you're in a void. You don't know. But when it comes to accountability, you have to take the stance of, if this didn't happen, who would I be? Right. Where would I be? What would my motivation be? You know, a quote that I live by is, the healer's gift is their own wound. So if I was never put in that position, I would never be able to give myself to other people. I would never be able to relate. I would have less empathy. I wouldn't care. You know, people who have different scenarios, like a different background, different lives, different perspective, they can't even relate. Imagine not being able to relate to the typical person, because once you really get deep into your healing, you understand that everybody's healing. Everybody's going through stuff that they don't talk about. Everybody is trying to pick themselves up or have a reason to, you know what, keep going, because this hurt and that hurt, and I lost my mom and I lost my dad and I was raped and I was kidnapped and my sister died and my cousin got shot. Everybody's going through something, but you know, just everybody is going through their own deaths and rebirths constantly. This is what life is about, because if we do not evolve, we're stagnant. Like I said previously, everything's always changing. So you want to take the accountability route so that you can move on and really move on, and not move on to kind of push your emotions to the side or brush them under the rug, because it doesn't work. You've done that up until you decided, like, you know what, I'm going to let this heal. Because if you keep pushing it under the rug, it's going to keep coming up to bite you. It's going to keep reminding you, like, that, remember that? Oh yeah, it's still deeply embedded in your subconscious mind, which is why you always end up in the same scenarios. You think that something's wrong with you because you're attracting the same partner, but really you're wounded, and that wound is calling out a certain type of love that it's used to. You can't attract something that you don't resonate with.
Period. So
if you want to be a better person or have a better life, you're gonna have to change your personal DNA.
Absolutely. And I'll just add on to that, because healing is definitely a journey. It's so weird because it's just like people are healing at different points in their lives. And, you know, the point where you're healing, it's just like you wondering why people doing this and X, Y, and Z, but they're healing from something that they went through. And it's just like you can't control how people heal, how fast or how slow. And so you really got to be cognizant of that. And I think that's something that definitely helped me within my journey. It's just like the people that you know, hurt me or X, Y, and Z, it's just like they were hurt as well. Hurt people hurt people, you know what I'm saying? And that's not just a saying, it's reality. So we really have to be cognizant of that, and really have to, you know, be protected of ourselves. I think it's so important how you were talking about you know, your wounds calling out to the same hurt that caused them. It's just like, that's so I don't know, that's so important to even just realize that, just when advocating for yourself, because now you can now acknowledge those patterns, and then after you acknowledge them, you could go ahead and change them. So yeah, girl, healing me, okay, like heal, come on. No, but I do appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming out today. Y'all, this is a gem right here. I'm gonna need y'all to go follow her, go support her, you know, just her expressive therapy, her girl. You'll be learning some things, honey. I repost them all the time, every time, period. No problem. So yeah, go ahead and follow her. She also has a custom page to where she does all of these amazing designs. I just got my pants in, y'all. I am so happy. So go ahead and hit her up. Y'all will definitely be getting the fits, okay? So thank you so much. I just appreciate you so much. And
well, I want to say thank you for having me on your channel. Thank you for, you know, supporting me in all of my many journeys, and I'm so excited to see where your journey is going to go as far as your healing journey. I just want to thank you for, you know, healing out loud, because it takes courage, it takes resilience, it takes strength, it takes, you know, everybody can't come on here and say, you know, this is what I was dealing with and this is what I want to help you with. So I want to commend you for just being so strong, like strong enough to give, even, you know, where you kind of got a hole, you know?
Yeah. So NyeAllies, thank you so much for watching. I hope this is definitely going to help jumpstart some of your healing process, some of your healing journey. You could definitely learn, especially from, you know, therapist, expressive therapist Kenzie right here. Okay, so go ahead, make sure you guys subscribe, make sure you guys follow, and make sure you guys run the comments up, because we definitely want to know what you're thinking. So bye guys.